Ikorefanga in Calabar municipality laments increasing cases of gang armed robbery attacks. Seaport operators converge on Calabar to brainstorm on possible ways of repositioning Calabar port as major non-oil export hub. Plus, President Muhammadu Buhari submit revised 2022 appropriation framework to House of Representatives. Details in just a moment. Good evening and welcome to Nta Calabar News at 7. I am Ode Alenyo, and now the news in details. For the needed socio-economic development to thrive in any society, the security of lives and property of such a people remains a veritable prerequisite for peace and development to thrive. However, the increasing cases of insecurity in parts of Calabar municipality is becoming a major source of concern and a threat to the people. Leo Ajom visited Esugotu and Ikorefanga communities in Calabar municipality, reports that gang armed robbery is a recurrent decimal and filed in his reports.
It is commonly said that security is everyone's business, but this business seems to be more lucrative to a suspected network of gangs of armed robbers in Calabar metropolis. The residents of Esugotu and Ikorefanga communities no longer sleep with their two eyes closed as a result of incessant attacks.
In Calabar municipality, we've been robbed twice. They collected phones and money from people.
The other compound, they enter room by room.
Before now, they came like 2 weeks ago, so we thought that was all. But that Monday, the experience was so bad.
However, when contacted, security agencies assured Calabar residents of a wider surveillance and advised members of the public to furnish them with timely and useful information to enable them fish out criminals.
The good we expect from everybody is information. You will be assisting the security agencies very well to keep the place safe if you become very vigilant in your community.
Police, we are doing our best here in Cross River State. We've arrested a number of persons and we've charged them to court. We appreciate people that are coming to give us information on some certain things.
They strongly solicit the cooperation of the public to make the fight against insecurity a success, as security is everyone's business. In Calabar, Leo Ajom, Nta News.
As Nigeria is preparing for the 2023 general elections, political parties are advised to follow the tenets of democracy while choosing their candidate for true federalism. Political stakeholders in Calabar gave the advice while reacting to the issue of consensus arrangements in politics. Udwak Etum has details.
Consensus is said to be an integral part of politics in Nigeria, and encouraging political parties to adopt the consensus candidates, stakeholders noted that such arrangement reduces costs and acrimony, as well as promoting unity among members of a political party.
So many people will always aspire to occupy very few positions. And if you allow everybody to aspire like that, along the line, it will breed discord, it will bring about rancor. Therefore, it is good for consensus arrangements to be put in place for the understanding of everybody, so that everybody will come to one accordance. Then the party becomes stronger, more unified.
For others, consensus is not really a way of identifying strong candidates. As such, transparent system of producing candidates through voting should be encouraged.
Consensus is against democracy in the first instance. According to the Electoral Acts, that all the aspirants or participants have to agree in writing. Otherwise, allow the people to go to the field.
Party members should insist on the processes of electing their leaders. By such process, let it be clear that the people hold the mandate of the people. If there are 100 people, if 51 vote for you, you won by simple majority, by the laws of the land.
They urged political parties to be guided by democratic acts, and if adopting consensus arrangements, it should be an agreement of all members of the political parties. In Calabar, Udwak Etam, Nta News.
With the clamor over the congestion of Apapa Lagos port and suggestion of alternative from Eastern port in Nigeria to ease traffic of export and import activities, stakeholders are taking the advantage to repositioning Calabar Port as a major non-oil export hub in the country. Paul Eber reports that the forum held in Calabar brainstormed on the challenges and developed strategies towards achieving this feat.
Export is an integral part of improving a nation's foreign exchange, and ports play a significant role towards accomplishing such tasks. But with only Tinkan and Lagos-Apapa ports functioning at optimal level, while others struggle to make impact, the need to access the situation becomes imperative. This set the tone of discussion by key industry players who opine on improving the non-oil sector to contribute to the nation's GDP.
The state has an international airport, has a seaport, and has a land border with other nations.
We think that from here, a lot of exports can go into the Central, South Africa.
The non-dredging of the Calabar ports has posed a perennial problem. We've heard about this dredging for over 20 years now, but nothing significant has been done.
Taking a look at alternate sources of income other than oil and in promoting export, speakers highlight the role of NPA terminal operators, the private sector among others, on using Calabar Port as a major non-oil export hub in.
The federal government has approved a 5.6 billion naira contract for the maintenance of the terminal buildings at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Abuja and Port Harcourt International Airports. 14.2 billion naira has also been approved for the completion of the new terminal buildings and perishable cargo at Enugu and Asawa airports. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Serika, made this known at a media briefing after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. You are watching news reaching you live from the studio of Nta Calabar. You can watch this newscast on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Nta Calabar. We'll bring you more reports after this time out. Welcome back to the rest of our stories. President Muhammadu Buhari says he will await the final outcome of the constitutional review process before presenting the report of the review of the vertical revenue allocation formula to the National Assembly as a bill for an enactment. This report is here presented from our studio.
The president stated this in Abuja while receiving the reports by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, led by Elias Mbam. He further assured members of the commission that the federal government would immediately subject the report to its internal review and approval processes while awaiting finalization of the report by the National Assembly. According to the president, this strategy, rather than issuing an executive modification order, as was done in 1992, is more in line with entrenching our democratic tenets. He commended the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission for a job well done, pledging his unwavering commitment and support to them in carrying out their constitutional mandates. The president also thanked Nigerians, especially the state and local governments, for making their input through the broad stakeholder engagement processes that produced the report. The president said, as an advocate for grassroots development, he has always remained committed to ensuring that all tiers of government are treated fairly, equally, and justly in the sharing of national resources. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission chairman noted that while Section 32B, Part 1 of 3rd Schedule of the 1999 Constitution, 9 as amended, empowers the Commission to review from time to time the revenue allocation formula, the inadequate and decaying infrastructure, as well as heightened Widespread internal security challenges across the country were also reasons for the exercise, among others.
Still on President Muhammadu Buhari, President Muhammadu Buhari has submitted to the House of Representatives the revised fiscal framework for consideration to enable amendment of the 2022 Appropriation Act. The report is here again presented from our studio.
In the communication read by the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, at the commencement of plenary, the federal government seek adjustments to some of the parameters of the budget. The projected oil price benchmark as contained in the request has been increased by $11 per barrel, from $62 to $73 per barrel. The volume of the projected daily oil production output has been reduced to 1.6 million barrels per day, as against the earlier projected volume of 1.883 million barrels. Other adjustments include an additional provision of 182.45 million naira to cater for the needs of the Nigeria Police Force. There is also an increase of 3.5 trillion naira on estimated provisions for subsidy, taking the figure up from 142 million to 4 trillion naira. The President explained that these adjustments to the 2022 Appropriation Act become necessary due to new developments in the global and domestic economy, such as spikes in the price of crude oil, aggravated by the Russia-Ukraine war.
Our budget deficit is projected to increase by 965.42 billion to 7.35 trillion, representing 3.99% of GDP. The incremental deficit will be financed by new borrowings from the domestic market.
Activities leading to the 2023 general election should not truncate government policies, programs, and projects aimed at lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty. This is the position of Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and Secretaries to state governments at their first quarter 2022 forum in Abuja with the theme Bureaucratic Continuity During Pre-Election and Transition Period. Mitaire Ikpe reports.
Round of applause.
This forum of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation with secretaries to state governments was instituted to share best practices and encourage peer review of governance processes at the national and sub-national levels. SGF boss Mustafa is frank with other top bureaucrats from the state that election years always throw up challenges of governance as well as sustainability of projects and programs of government at all levels, hence the need to stay focused and committed particularly to poverty alleviation programs.
It is important that we remain proactive if we need our principals to succeed in delivering promises made to the people.
And I'm pleading with the state governments to please support us in monitoring these programs.
Other speakers are unanimous that governance should not be overshadowed by electioneering campaigns.
By public service values, you are supposed to show political neutrality. You are also supposed to show impartiality.
How do we keep the government flowing so that we finish stronger than we started and leave a stronger delta? Look at the fact that electioneering is starting. How do we keep the pace of government moving without slowing it down?
It will be useful to have the offices of Secretary to the state government to be the coordinating office for a lot of the federal government programs.
The bureaucrats were also reminded to drive the process of expanding vaccination coverage in their respective states, as the COVID-19 battle is not yet over. From the State House Conference Center, Abuja, Mitaire Ikpe, NTA News.
You're still watching news reaching you live from the studio of Nta Calabar. You can watch this newscast on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/NTA Calabar. We'll go on a break shortly. We'll be back. Welcome back. The People's Democratic Party National Reconciliation and Strategic Committee has submitted its final report to the National Working Committee of the party, advising the party that the conduct of rancor-free primaries into various elected positions in 2023 general elections will further stabilize the party. The appeal court's Abuja division has dismissed an appeal brought by the All Progressive Congress APC against the election of Obon Stephen Ntuekpo as the chairman of the Akwa Ibom State chapter of the party. Delivering the judgment on the appeal, the presiding judge, Justice Haruna Simon Samani, nullified the appeal as a result of the withdrawal of the appellants from the cases. In the appeal filed by Senator John James Akpan-Odode on 28 March 2022, he claimed to be the National Secretary of the APC Central Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee and also sought a stay of execution of the orders of the court. The motion for stay has not been heard as parties are still exchanging processes. In his reaction to the appeal, Obon Stephen Ntuekpo has challenged Senator Udode's capacity to maintain the appeal filed on March 28, 2022 as National Secretary of the APC Central Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, having left office on March 26, 2022. He urged that Udode's name be struck out of the appeal for lack of local standing. He further urged that Senator John James Akpan-Odode cannot initiate and maintain any appeal as National Secretary of the defunct Central Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee or in his personal capacity, just as Comrade Adams Oshomole couldn't initiate or maintain any action in the name of the National Chairman of APC. On April 7, 2022, the APC withdrew 8 appeals against the validly elected chairman of APC in Akwa Ibom State, Obon Stephen Ntuekpo, and same was dismissed despite frantic argument put up by Solomon Moore, who later conceded to the withdrawal. And now to the world of sports. More than a week now since the Super Eagles and Ghana Black Star encounter was played at the Abuja Stadium. Sport correspondent Cynthia Ogun takes a look at the stadium in view of the post-match violence recorded that day.
April 5, 2022 was exactly 1 week since Nigeria's Super Eagles hosted the Black Stars of Ghana in the second leg of the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup playoffs at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, on March 29, 2022. Recall that after the match, which ended 1-1, emotions took the better side of some Super Eagles fans who took to the pitch in a show of anger after it dawned on them that the visitors had benefited from the away goal rule.
When you look at how long it took to bring this back, when you look at the amount that was spent initially before Koja, and then it was brought back in its glory for the purpose and for the use of Nigerians. Over 64,000 Nigerians were here on Tuesday. Imagine if this place was not fixed by the federal government and the Dangote Group. We would not have a place like this to host.
The facility is wearing a new look following concerted cleanup exercises, even as the 9-man committee set up by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to investigate the post-match violence at the main bowl has since hit the ground running.
A fortune was actually spent to put the stadium in place, and it is quite unfortunate. The first major match that is being held there, then vandalism took place. It's quite unfortunate and highly condemnable.
I think the federal government, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, have done their best to put committee together to look into this and, of course, do the needful before Nigeria is playing against Egypt.
Built in 2003, the Moshood Abiola National Stadium remains one of the best in Africa, with its packages A and B boasting of facilities suitable for all sporting activities. Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
And to end the news, let's take a quick look at some of the stories that make the headlines. Residents of Esugo 2 and Ikorefanga in Calabar have called on relevant authorities to intervene and save them from increasing rates of gang armed robbery in their areas. Stakeholders at a forum in Calabar have identified the need for the dredging of Calabar Port as a possible way to repositioning Calabar Port as a major non-oil export hub in the country. It was also in the news that President Muhammadu Buhari has submitted the revised 2022 appropriation framework to the House of Representatives. And that is it on our news tonight. From me is good night.